Yo, what's up guys? Matt here from dclblogger.com. I wanted to go through this video going through I guess what are the top 1% of people doing in the industry. So it's not so much in terms of money or opportunity, it's more in terms of experience. Definitely the people with more experience in the game that did invest early have made a lot of money. I mean, there is no doubt that's happened. But I guess just a few points that I see, I've been investing in NFTs for 3 years. So this is kind of true across the board, industry to industry. But I guess I just wanted to go through this thread here that I made. I just always check it's recording, because sometimes I record and then I think I'm recording and I speak for like 30 minutes and it doesn't record. So I'm like always paranoid. So I made this thread, how to invest risk on in the NFT space, high risk, high reward. And it's kind of like, I guess, the people that are in my opinion, and I see that are kind of making a lot of money, they're doing a lot of these things, right? And I've known a lot of these investors since the start of their careers, and I've seen them make their moves, and I've seen them advance in their wealth and invest, and how they invest, what they invested in, and how they kind of went about it. So yeah, one of the biggest thing I wanted to say is to negotiate. I know it's not at the top of this, but we'll start with negotiating it. And negotiating is really important, because if you go to Decentraland today, you'll see that the cheapest parcel of land is 6,800 mana. Now, 3 days ago, it was actually 9,000 mana. Looks like prices have gone down because mana seems to be going up in value. So maybe some people are a little bit more eager to sell in mana because they get more USD value. But if you see a land here, or if you go into the marketplace and you see a certain thing, you're like, okay, well, 6,799 mana. Cool. So that's the floor. But the fact that it's here and no one's purchased it yet means that it's not technically the floor, in the sense that it's kind of hard to explain. Like, if maybe a floor in my mind is something that if you were to list it, then it would sell immediately. That in people's psychology, in the mind of people, is cheap, right? That's what's considered cheap, and that's what triggers their buying button. So right now, 6,800 mana, it's cheap, but no one's bought it yet, right? So what I would do is I would find people that are selling Decentraland land, and I would message them. And especially for lands that are on the far outskirts. Now, obviously, lands have different categories. So you got lands that are on the far outskirts or not connected to anything. Then you got lands that are in the middle of districts, so not very far to districts. You can see this one's actually connected to a district at 9,900 mana. So what I would do is kind of message people on Discord and see if I can get it at a better price. So maybe I'd contact this guy. So who is this guy selling it? Looks like it's a new buyer. It doesn't have a DM name. UNACH. Maybe I'd go into Discord and try and find that person. Now, this is the same for any other project. So for Sandbox, if you go to Sandbox, you'll see the cheapest land is 0.2 Ethereum, right? Now, if I go to Discord and I go into land trading channel, so Sandbox lands for sale, you can see all the people trying to sell. So selling 3x3, DM for offers. So there's so many opportunities here for you to just DM these people and be like, hey man, what land are you selling? And if you can match that with the marketplace prices for that category of land and the historical sales, so nonfungible.com or cryptoslam.com.io will show the recent sales in that area. And if you can get a price via negotiation that's cheaper than the market price, then suddenly you know that you've got that risk buffer. So you know that, okay, that you bought land for say 5,000 mana a piece. So suddenly you know that you're already winning. You know that if you list it for 5,900 mana, someone would probably buy it pretty quick. So you already know you're winning, right? And that's the important thing. And I think not many people do that. And the people that do that, I guess, on a very big level. So for example, if someone comes and has like $100,000 to invest, or like $300,000 to invest, and suddenly he finds a whale who's like, man, I have so much land, I need it gone ASAP. Just I'm happy to get rid of it for 4,000 mana a piece or 3,000 mana a piece. Like, it just gets so ridiculously cheap for you. Then you're like, whoa, okay. Because the more money you have, the more buy power you have, but obviously the more risky it is. So I guess the people that have made a lot of money and were in that top 1%, they took high risk decisions. They were investing when no one else were investing. They were buying CryptoPunks when they were like 0.5 Ethereum, right? They were buying Decentraland Land when that was 1,000 mana. They were buying art when it was like no one was paying attention. And so at that point, you're kind of, you are playing with risk, but you also want to mitigate that risk by going in at a price that's cheaper than what it's currently selling at, right? You do that via negotiation. And also with cryptocurrencies. So I actually have the majority of my wealth, even though I have a ton of NFTs, I have the majority of my wealth in cryptocurrencies. Just because they're highly liquid, they go up massively. In the last month or two, or the last 1 to 3 months, we've had coins or projects do like 10 to 15, 20x. So NFTX is one. It's done really, really well. I think it was like $22 at a point. Look at this, $22, and it's gone all the way up to $455. What is that? 10, 20x. So the reason why I bring this up is because, instead of going to Coinbase or Binance and buying cryptocurrencies there, what happens is at the very seed, kind of very early stages of a project, when they just come up with the idea and they launch their token, they can do so on Uniswap. So they can just put up liquidity on Uniswap, and suddenly you can buy it directly on here. Now, it might take you some time to figure out how to use Uniswap if you've never used it. It requires you to download a digital wallet. So I use MetaMask, and then learn how to transfer your Ethereum to whatever you want. So, but a lot of these coins, for example, Bondly, NFTX, I believe, you can see that these aren't even on major marketplaces. So the majority of the volume that's happening for Bondly is taking place on Uniswap, $7 million worth of volume. So now how exchanges work, so cryptocurrency exchanges, is that you have to either as a project pay them a ton of money. So you pay them like $500,000 to $1 million. Just checking if it's recording still. You have to pay them a ton of money to get it listed, or you do so much volume, so you do so much trade volume that exchanges look at you and be like, holy crap, we need to list this coin because so many people want it, so many people trade it. We can make money with the fees, charge these people 0.5%, 0.2% per trade. And suddenly if a project's doing like $100 million in volume, then you can imagine how much a project like Binance would make. Like, I think that's like $200,000 a day if that continues at 0.2%. Is my math right? Maybe. Yeah, I think my math's right. So it's always about getting in early, but in getting in early, it's also high risk. Getting a price below market price is getting in at a mitigating that risk, and that's true for NFTs. In cryptocurrency world, it's a bit different because there's a market set price that's hard to negotiate because everything is fungible. Everything is not negotiable in the cryptocurrency world. So getting in early. So NFTX did really well. Bondly did really well. Decentral Games is doing really well. B20 is going nuts. B20 CoinGecko. So if you don't know what B20 is, it was a MetaCoven, MetaPurse, who were one of the biggest investors in the first Beeple drop that bought $2.5 million worth. They kind of fractionalized it and sold cryptocurrencies that were backed by that set of 20 pieces. So you can see it's $6 now, but when the pre-sale or during the sale, it was 45 cents. I think it was even cheaper than that. I think it was like 40 cents, and then it's just gone bonkers because now Beeple kind of comes out with the news of what he's doing next, and it's going crazy because people want to, the value of Beeple pieces have also gone up. So as that's going up, I guess these are going up in value as well. So you can see trading volume, $11 million. Jesus, that is a lot of trading volume. The market cap, I don't know what the market cap is. Here we go. Nope, doesn't say the market cap. But anyway, another idea. And how do you find out about B20? Well, you have to be in the grapevines. You have to be on Twitter. You have to be on Discord. You have to know what's going on. So that requires you to be on the know. So one of the reasons why I actually have my Twitter account, guys, is because my DMs are going nuts. People tell me what's coming up. People come up with offers. Companies want to connect. And there's so much offers coming in, And I think having a social presence really helps with deal flow, because you do come across things that are new, and just so much information. The hard part is, I guess, filtering out which information is worth going after and which information you should just discount, because there's not enough time in the day to go through all of this stuff. So Nifty Gateway, we all know Nifty Gateway is blowing up. The art space in general is blowing up massively. We've seen a ton of volume come up. So if I go to cryptopulse.com, as you guys know, this is my website, cryptoartpulse.com. Every time I check here, you just see most of the sales coming from Nifty Gateway, and you see how frequent the sales are. So it's 9:58 a.m. on my clock, and we've had sales at 9:52, 9:51, 9:48. Every 2-3 minutes there's a sale, and the sales are ranging from like, well, that's a really cool piece. Wow, that's a really cool piece. The sales are ranging from like $1,600 to $11,800, $8,000, $3,000. And when I came here, I was like, holy crap, this place is blowing up. So, what I do is I just search, certain artists that I like the art of, number one. But if you search them, you can kind of see which ones are doing big sales, and which ones are selling frequently. So the frequency of sales, like you can see every 2 to 3 hours, there's a sale being made for Boss Logic's pieces. So if every 2 to 3 hours a sale is being made, basically an NFT in that category is taken out of supply. An NFT out of that category is taken out of supply. Now that continues to happen over the period of 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and suddenly you're looking at a floor price $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. That's what happened with Beeple. With Beeple, people bought during the 5-minute open auction for $1,000, and then immediately sold it for like $2,000, $3,000. And then for about 2 to 3 weeks, it was kind of like in that $2,000 to $3,000, $4,000 zone. And then suddenly, as more people kind of bought one, as the art industry started to mature, and that supply was slowly taken out day by day, suddenly the next price was like 10K, 15K, 20K, 30K, 50K. And then that's what started to bring the attention, right? So you kind of have to look at the liquidity and the sell walls. I kind of call it sell walls in the sense of, if someone has 10 Beeple pieces selling at $5,000, then you know that once those $5,000 pieces are gone, the next step is 7,000, 10,000, 15,000. So there's only 3 sales in between 5,000 and 15,000, right? So read liquidity and look at the sales prices, because then you can kind of see. So if I go to Boss Logic, who I love the art of, first of all, and we check out the open editions, you can see all right, so you can see there's like about 10 of them that are under, okay, maybe more than 10, maybe, yeah, well, yeah, 10 of them, oh no, 20, I think it's 20 per page. So 20 of them are between 6,000 and 10,000. Now, if one sells every 2 hours, maybe the liquidity will dry up and won't continuously sell that much, but maybe it'll sell 5 a day. Say it sells 5 a day. Then 5 days from now, we're looking at a $10,000 to $12,000 floor. But look at the next 20 pieces. It goes from $10,000 to $20,000, or more than $20,000 in the next 20 pieces, right? So that's why I kind of think, and there's also other editions. So there's not only this from Boss Logic. There's these ones too. That's sold for, yeah, they're also selling for $5,000. But it's also a good idea because they all have their own supply counts and all that sort of stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, you can see how, like, if X amount bought a day, if you do the math, then 10 days later, if that sort of momentum continues, who's going to continue that momentum? Who's going to be the sort of artists that have great work, that resonate with the current crowd of collectors, that will continue to bring in that consistent buyers, and then invest in them, like, so I guess what I'm trying to say is the top 1% kind of anticipate volume coming in. Volume coming in on a fixed asset supply means that price goes up. That's just generally how it works. So can a set of NFTs continuously add or attract a collector community? If it can, price generally goes up. Okay, it's up to the artist to continue growing their career. It's up to the art for speaking for itself. It's up to the whole thing. I really like this Wakanda lights. I think I have just one. I don't know if I should grab another one. Okay, so then there's that, and I use Crypto Art Pulse to kind of check that out, so I can see like every 2 hours, very quickly, do a snapshot. So also Dota rings, and this was one that I went in by myself. I bought a ton of these because I think they're going to do really well. And my theory with Dota rings, Dota is a game that I used to love playing. It has a massive fan base, probably one of, if not the biggest esports competitive prize pools, I think. It does really good, OG, great team. And the Dota crowd is massive. And so when I think about pivotal moments, I think about what was the first NFT release of the industry for that. So, the art industry has its own history. Now, esports, and I think about official esports teams that have released art as NFTs in the mainstream arena. I think it's only been OG Sports. I think Artifact Studios also comes to mind. I know they've got links with esports, but if you look at the pure esports, let's just look at Dota. If you look at Dota, and if Dota switches on the NFT marketplace, then maybe some of their collectors would look back and try and find some very early NFTs that were from the Dota space, right? That's its own trajectory. So that's why I think over time, the Dota rings will do really well. And the cheapest I think at the moment is like $200. I bought like a lot, guys. I bought like 20, 30, I think 40 or something, because I think I'm anticipating the volume coming in, right? And I also love Dota. I love to own these rings. So those are kind of the things that are going through my mind, and also keeping an eye on what's coming up next. So we know Flow blockchain released NBA Top Shot. So let's check out Flow. They've got all these in the works. Now UFC looks like they've got UFC coming in. Now Top Shot did really well. Why wouldn't UFC do really well? Go to UFC, click on it, register your email, and now you're in touch with what's coming up next. So be in the know, be in the forefront. You can also kind of, again, like, I guess the top 1% also accelerate the space. And by accelerating the space, they invest and they also bring value. So Whale Shark is quite a prominent investor who in the early days spent, I think, like $500,000 to $1 million buying up CryptoVoxel's land, buying up art, and then giving CryptoVoxel's land as free rent for a year for artists to come and make a gallery. And that's what I remember. That's how CryptoVoxels for me became. CryptoVoxels was doing great before that. A lot of people were using it, but it's kind of when people start to pay attention to CryptoVoxels in terms of the sales, the land sales, because people are like, holy crap, this is going nuts right now. And then Whale Shark put the two together, and I guess he accelerated. I don't want to say he created the movement, but he accelerated the art movement in CryptoVoxels. And one person can do that. They can accelerate with enough money and power and influence in the right sense. Can push an industry to go in a certain direction. They can set the narrative. So I think that's really important, and that's if you're going in with big money and you're trying to accelerate certain spaces, you can. Yeah, so that's that. And I guess they kind of go risk on. So like I said, the people were investing in CryptoPunks before they weren't really a thing. CryptoKitties, some of these projects has continued to stay relevant. Some of them kind of died down, but CryptoKitties right now has had no mainstream appeal, and all the wave of people that are coming in, no one's really talking about CryptoKitties. And maybe that's because the investors there don't really know how to push it out to mainstream, and there's not that much of a strong story behind it, although there is. But they're not, anyone right now can push the project out there and get that mainstream attention to pay attention. Yeah, I think also they're spending a lot more time than others. So quit work, go in full time. So we'll go through these two. So quitting work and going in full time, I know it's a hard decision, and I'm not going to promote anyone doing it because everyone's got their own circumstances. But technically speaking, the more time you spend researching, talking to people, scouting deals, the more money they make. So a lot of the people that are in here that are making good money are doing it full time. So they have like a full-time schedule around it, or they're going to work and they're spending like 4 to 6 to 8 hours a day, whether it may be at work, on their phones, just kind of really immersed in this space. The NFT space isn't really a spot for someone who just wants to skim the area and then throw some money at. If you really want to get like those really big gains, you have to be knowing what's going on. So looking for hurdles and barriers. So what I meant by that is also, for example, I remember with Decentraland Land, all right? So with Decentraland, there were people. So before this marketplace, so before what you see here, this thing didn't exist. So this marketplace website where you could list and sell your land, it didn't exist for a good 3 to 4 months. And so the only way to sell land was to message someone and get that person to send money, and then you settle the land. So it was very risky because you couldn't set up a contract for it. Well, no one had at that time had the skill to set up the contract for it, but you could negotiate with someone and say, hey man, I'm happy to spend 5,000 mana on 10 of your pieces. You send the mana and trust them enough to send the land back. So that required a lot more trust. It required validation from people, vouching for people. It required an escrow. Not many people were doing it on a large degree. I think I was the only one of the many, I think as far as I know, I was the only one who's doing it at a really large degree. And I was honestly in like a playing field of my own. Like not many people were downing, you know, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 on like a massive NFT portfolio, which back then was very new to people. People didn't know what was going on. And because I was doing it so frequently, I knew what plots were worth what, because, you know, there was no marketplace to kind of compare. And data sites came later. So a lot of people would have looked at that and said, that's too risky. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. But if you found it, and even if I got scammed 1 out of 5 times, I still make money on the 4 times, right? Say I got scammed 1 time. Screw it. Big deal. I lost 5K, but the other ones made money. So overall, I'm in profit. So that was my mindset. And honestly, I never got scammed once. It was very surprising. I've done like over 100 deals that way, but I never got scammed once. And to this day, I find it quite surprising that how, I guess, you know, this place is not as scammy as people think that it is. Although there were some times where people did get scammed. So I'm not saying it's all good and you should always keep a risk buffer, but yeah, that's what happened. And last one, I think, oh yeah, so look for hurdles and barriers. Continuing onto that, what are the current hurdles? The current hurdles are time, is data. So you know, make your own data website. So for example, data right now, everyone wants to know what the hell's going on in the art market. So screw it. I just made my own art market website to like figure out what the hell is going on. And it's out there for public, but it's so much more easier now to figure out what's going on, what's selling, where the volume is coming on, who's buying, how many people are buying, what's the price appreciation, how many sales has it done on the secondary market, which marketplaces are getting the most attention. This is the information you need on a daily snapshot basis to make decisions. If it's not there, build it. Build it. If you're making $100,000, $200,000 investments, spend 2 to 5K on a dev to build it, right? So information is key, and filtering that information in a digestible, action-oriented way is key. By the way, I'm not saying I'm the top 1%, so I'm not like trying to say that. I'm just trying to say what I've seen other people do. So this is some stuff I do. Maybe I'm in the top 1%, maybe top 5%, top 10% or something. But I know I'm definitely more deeply invested in this than most people, or do things a little bit differently. So there's that. There's and also again, like if you look at the current challenges, Ethereum gas fees. Ethereum gas fees are really high right now. What does that mean? It means that people might want to sell. People might want to sell in bulk, right? And there's also other hurdles like people don't want to mint art. So suddenly all these artists aren't minting art. So maybe that opens the door for you as an artist to come out and mint art and take that risk. Again, you're taking that risk, but you're doing it at a time where not many people are. There's a hurdle and there's a lot of people not doing it. When there's no hurdles and everyone's doing it, that's when things are just moving too fast. It's very difficult to make money. Just because there's just too much happening and everyone's doing it, right? When everyone's doing it, it's almost always too late when it comes to investing. If you're in early and then everyone starts doing it, that's great. But if you're doing it at the same time everyone's doing it, like everyone's buying Bitcoin right now, it's 50K. That's sick. But you obviously had more benefit back when you were buying it at 5K, where not many people were buying, right? Now when you're buying, you're taking a higher risk. Okay, so there's that, and then I don't want to make this too much of a long video. Yeah, deal flow I think is really important, and that's either you're in Discord and chatting with a lot of people. You have a Twitter account. You have a YouTube account. So this has really helped me. It's helped a lot of people contact me and say, hey, Maddie, we checked out your YouTube videos. We love it. This is our project coming out. What do you think? For me, it's like, oh, cool. This is awesome. Let me check it out. Maybe this is my opportunity to get in early if it's a great project, you know? So the deal flow comes in from social presence, and you can be Anon. A lot of people, you know, I think Pranksy is Anon. Whale Sharks ain't on. Nifty Reports is ain't on. I think Danny's ain't on. Massive whales. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to do a YouTube channel, but you can, just be a Twitter personality or anything, not a personality, but just someone with a presence that deal flow comes your way. So just, I guess I wanted to go through the 1%, like what they're doing and how to go in early, and how to keep tabs on what's going on, time, community, opportunities and filtering, focus. Those are kind of things that really help. So that's it. Just wanted to go through a quick video. I think this is like a 20-minute video. I always say I'm going to do them quick, but they go on for a while. Hope that helped, and I'll see you guys in another video.